Have you ever wondered why certain people seem to easily resist manipulation? Or if there's some kind of secret force field that repels narcissists, signaling that you are not a person to mess with? If you find yourself wanting to people please, feeling emotionally drained, or worrying about what other people think about you, a narcissist might be pulling the strings. I've spent the last 20 years researching the connection between self-worth and narcissistic relationships. As a coach, author, and someone who has faced these challenges firsthand, I know how tough these situations can be. In this video, I'll share the 5 triggers narcissists cannot tolerate, what they reveal about the power dynamic, and how you can take your power back in any situation. It's one thing to understand how narcissists manipulate. It's a whole other thing to know what triggers them, because that is where your power is. It's not about fixing them. It's not about changing them. It's about knowing exactly what will tip the power structure in your favor. By the way, if you're wondering how to assess the level of risk you're dealing with, I've created a free narcissist protection checklist to help. It's a quick and powerful way to protect yourself and those you love, and it's in the description below. The first trigger narcissists can't handle is being ignored. Not because they miss you, not because they care about you, but because attention is how they survive. Narcissists don't run on connection. They run on supply. That means your time, your attention, your emotional energy, praise, pity, even conflict, it all feeds them. As long as you're reacting, they're getting something that they need. So when you stop responding, they feel it immediately. The supply gets cut off. No reaction, no energy means no fuel. And without that, their sense of self starts to crack. You don't need a big confrontation to ignore them. Sometimes it's just not replying to a text. It's not praising them in a meeting. It's focusing on someone else at the family gathering instead of making them the center. These are quiet choices, but they're powerful. And here's what you need to know. Can't handle doesn't always mean that they're going to have a meltdown. It can mean anything from guilt trips to love bombs to smear campaigns or legal threats. Some will unravel, some will attack. So preparation matters here, but when you stop giving them the emotional currency that they depend on, something does shift. The second thing narcissists can't handle is direct, unemotional truth. They don't mind if you yell, they love it if you argue, but they cannot stand calm, grounded facts because there's no way to use them. Narcissists survive by spinning a version of reality that keeps them at the center. They exaggerate, omit, or distort the truth to maintain control, and they rely on others to reflect that version back to them. That's why they target people who are empathetic, agreeable, or quick to smooth things over. It's easier to feed the illusion when no one pushes back. But a calm, clear statement of truth is a mirror they cannot manipulate, and it exposes what they work so hard to cover up. When you don't explain or justify or take the bait, they're left with something they can't twist. They can't stand this because it removes their grip on the moment. It strips away the performance and forces them to confront reality without the usual audience applause. They're no longer the one controlling how others see them, and that's when they realize they've lost something even more important. They've lost access to you. And you don't have to do this in a dramatic way. It can sound something like, "That never happened to me," or "She's never done that to me," or "That's not how I remember it." These statements stop the story from gaining traction. There's no argument, no explanation, no energy that they can twist. Being a truth teller doesn't mean that you explain yourself. It doesn't mean that you're trying to be understood. It means naming what you see and refusing to shrink it back when they try to rattle you. And that clarity is power. The third thing narcissists can't handle is not being treated like they're the most important person in the room. They expect all the attention, all the admiration, all the emotional energy. They believe they deserve constant reassurance, total accommodation, and unlimited access to your time and focus. Not more than others, all of it. Anything less will feel like a betrayal to them. They don't see neutrality as normal. They don't see shared attention as fair. If they're not being praised, prioritized, or catered to, they feel devalued, dismissed, insulted, and they expect to be treated like the most important person in every room every day of their life. And if not, they will spiral. This is especially obvious at events where the attention isn't on them. Weddings, birthdays, award ceremonies. Narcissists don't care that these moments matter to you. They don't care that someone else earned the recognition. All they see is that they're not being celebrated, and that is intolerable. And when they feel slighted, they will retaliate. They'll make a scene at your wedding, they'll cause a crisis before your birthday, they'll start drama for your celebration. Some will vanish just to punish you with their absence, or others will go full nuclear, spreading rumors, trying to embarrass you, or even sabotage your relationship or your career. It doesn't take much. Simply not making them the center is enough to provoke them. The fourth thing narcissists can't handle is being held accountable. They don't want to be reminded of what they said. They don't want to be asked why something didn't happen. They don't want you pointing out the gap between their words and their actions, because accountability strips away their advantage. It interrupts the power dynamic that they've been carefully building. They say they'll do something, then they don't. They promise to change, then they repeat the pattern. This is not a mistake. It's how they keep you off balance. When you never know what to expect, you stop expecting anything. You try not to upset them. You teach yourself that you need to need less. You don't want to seem difficult, and that's what they're counting on. If they can get you to focus on not being too much, you'll stop noticing how little they're actually giving. And this is why they can't handle being called out. A simple sentence like, "You said you'd be here at 7," or "You promised this wouldn't happen again," feels like a threat to them. To you, it might not feel aggressive, but to them, this is a blatant attack on their manipulation tactic. It's clear, it's direct, it's unemotional, and they have no way to spin it. They want you chasing, they want you explaining, they want you unsure of what's fair and what to expect. Because as long as you're confused, they stay powerful. But when you stop apologizing for having needs, when you name what happened without shrinking or softening it, they feel it. The fifth thing narcissists can't handle is someone who doesn't need them. They survive on dependency. They want you emotionally attached, financially tied, or socially trapped. If they think you can't leave or won't leave, they feel safe. Not safe in the relationship, safe in their control over it. That's what they're protecting. Not love, not connection, leverage. This is why so many of us have fallen into these kinds of relationships. At first, it feels secure. It feels like this person really wants you, like you've been chosen by them. You think that you're being cared for. But what's actually happening is quiet surveillance. They're learning how to make you rely on them so they don't have to rely on you. The more dependent you are, the easier it is to keep you quiet. You don't speak up because you don't want to lose support. You don't draw boundaries because you're afraid they're going to walk away. You start explaining yourself, apologizing for what you feel, softening what you need. That's what they want. Not just to be needed, but to be necessary, to be the thing you can't function without. So when that shifts, when you start saying no, you stop asking for permission, when you stop trying to prove your worth, they feel it. It doesn't matter if you're calm. It doesn't matter if you're kind. They can sense when that cord is being cut. And they panic. They'll test you. They offer help, and then they punish you for taking it. They create crises just to pull you back in, because if you don't need them, they have no way to keep you close. That's what they can't handle. Thanks so much for watching. YouTube thinks you're going to love this video right here on screen, so go ahead and give it a click. It dives deeper into spotting narcissists, avoiding their traps, and building boundaries that actually work. Don't miss it. It's the next step toward the life you deserve. Okay, I'll see you over there. Bye.